How's it going, everybody? Recently, we've had season 11 of Cosmic Crucible start, and everybody put out videos for the endgame players that have multiple tools at their disposal. But I got a lot of comments about, like, Dorky, like, you made the early game account, the mid game account, to give that experience, and kind of left high and dry here. And you know what? You guys are right, and that's my bad. Takes a lot of time to try and theory craft that, and honestly, it's easier to theory craft what to do in Crucible when you have all the tools, because you have all the tools. So this is definitely a video I should have made, so apologies for that, but hopefully it's going to catch you well now, and it can help you in your Crucible journeys, because it can be very stressful when you don't have all the tools. So let's talk about that. In this video, I'm going to be ignoring the following characters, because my mid-game account, which no longer spends money, doesn't have these tools with the exception of the Big Red Machine. We have a little talk about his unlock and how fast or slow it's going to be for players, right? So we're ignoring the full Orcus, even though we kind of just had the Nimrod event. I'm going to assume, like, if you're in the mid-game and this is a video that's going to be appealing to you, you probably don't have enough resources to, like, max them up right away anyway. So we'll put a pin in those guys. They will come back when we talk about some of the rules about, like, building for defense and stuff like that, but for now, let's ignore them. We'll definitely ignore Odin, because unless you had a giant core stockpile when, like, the various events for Purple Ice were coming out, like, you're nowhere near unlocking it. My mid-game account, which, you know, it does all of its energy every single day. It does its raids. We're at a pretty high raid difficulty. We're doing difficulty 1 right now. We're going to be moving to 2 very soon. Like, I'm just getting into the city villain section, so I don't think that's a really realistic expectation. Captain Britain was a pay-only character. Yes, we're going to be getting him very soon for the free-to-play, so you should keep him in mind when we go over the rules. But for now, we'll leave him off of this as well. Let's go to the Night Stalkers now. So Night Stalkers, like, none of them have been free-to-play accessible. You've probably been coring for some of these characters. Hopefully, if you didn't and you have a bunch of cores now, you could maybe do Oath. Not because she's great for Crucible, but because she's good for the current event that's running, the Halloween event. So if you're watching this, it's not Halloween time. Ignore what I just said. But we're going to ignore them. The bittersweet part about that team is they're not the best Crucible team anyway, but they're still a team you're gonna be building for raids. So it's probably something as a mid-game player you're gonna have to work with them, but they're just not the best. And then there's Mephisto. Okay, so my mid-game account is not a year old yet. I'm about 70 days off from it being a year old. I have Mephisto unlocked. I didn't spend a dime on red gear. I used to buy passes on that account before I just started spending more money on my main account. But when I bought the passes, they had not yet added the Crimson gear into those yet. So I organically got Mephisto before a year because of the type of alliance I'm in, where we are pushing the raids as hard as we can. Like, we've been doing Spotlight Difficulty 2 for quite a while now. Was it fun for people to build up Outflight? No, but we've seen giant benefits in the amount of, like, daily red gear that we're getting, right? And same with, you know, the Orcus raids. Like, no one in my alliance had Bifrost or Pegasus built up, so we were suffering through the regular difficulty just so we can get through it with the older teams. And as we've slowly gotten, like, the 3-piece Orcus that's been free to play, as now, because we did that, we were able to kind of jump up the difficulty 1, and then some of us started unlocking Mephisto, so the people that have Mephisto are digging through the Mystic section for others, and we're able to get further into the raids. So I'm not going to include Mephisto, all that to say, I'm not going to include Mephisto in, like, the base part of this video, but I do want to talk about him as, like, an interesting, like, when you get this character, this caliber of character, this is kind of how things start to pivot, because a lot of people have Mephisto now, and a lot of people are going to be getting him quite soon if they don't already. Somebody in my alliance might actually get Odin before they get Mephisto, which is kind of crazy. I'm interested to talk to him about how DD8 went. Anyway, this is completely off topic. All right, so those are the characters that we're going to be ignoring, guys. And let's talk about the golden rules of defense. 2 teams. 2 monster defense, and we want them to be Cabal-proof. There's a couple different things you can do to make a team Cabal-proof, which we're going to talk about for sure. This season, it's very easy with the raid room to at least get one of them right. But we need that because everyone's going to have Cabal, because you needed that for Old Man Logan. Once you start getting to the mid-game, Cabal is just going to be a real thing that you're going to have to deal with. Now, if people put Cabal on the defensive side, you should thank them, because there's so many ways to outplay Cabal when it's on defense. But yeah, we need to make sure we have 2 monster defense teams. After that, it's bottom of the barrel, guys. It's the bottom of the barrel when you're in the mid-game. So your top 8, 9, 10, 11 teams to fill, boosted by some plug-and-play characters. What I mean by plug-and-play characters, I'm talking about a character like Black Knight, maybe a character like Skrull, though we're going to do something different with Skrull for this season. maybe a character like Ares thrown in there, or a character like Weaver or Old Man Logan or something like that, we're going to be using to boost these teams. Those are terrible examples because I'm going to tell you keep all those on the offensive side for this current season, but that's the general idea. And then, it is never worth building your top 8, 9, 10, 11 teams for this season, because next season, they're going to be replaced. And the reason for that is because, well, the cold rule of Marvel Strike Force right now is that newer teams are instantly outclassing older teams, especially Crucible teams. What's a great example of this? Okay, Annihilators are like 3 tiers above New Warriors. People right now are using the New Warriors to beat Orcus on what they think is a punch-up. They say they're punching up a million because that's what the numbers tell them, but what they fail to realize is that the new teams have such inflated stats that what they're really doing is they're kind of doing like a punch-across, punch-down at best. So do you really want to go invest in your New Warriors right now so they have an even chance against Orcus, and then you're not having that raid team built up? Like, that's just a silly thing to do. So the newer teams right now, especially these raid teams, they're so important, and they are at least filling that role to a reasonable degree that it just makes more sense to keep building these newer teams. So like we talked about Orcus before, I talked about Night Stalkers, how we're not including them on this list, but that should still be your priority. Even if you only care about Crucible, you should still get your raid teams in order because it all kind of snowballs into resources and extra goodies, right? And then we talk about a team like the Astral team that's coming out. I haven't play tested these guys yet. I've got no experience with them, but just looking at their kits, I can tell this team is going to be something that's going to instantly shut down New Warriors. Like New Warriors, if somebody's a legacy account and they have New Warriors built up, I don't think New Warriors are going to come in because there's health triggers. They're going to be so much tankier. They're going to have out of turn damage happening. The new teams are just more interesting, and with the new stats, it just makes sense to build what's newer from now. The few exceptions to that are going to be your Cabal. You need them for the Old Man Logan anyway. Your Superior 6 is going to be a big one there. Your Illuminati, I guess, is not technically the new stats meta. They're definitely going to be worth it, as we're going to talk about. They're great in all the modes. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Crucible plug-and-play power combos are still worth it for now. So what do I mean by a power combo? Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Weaver are getting a lot of play right now, whether that be with Captain Britain and Apocalypse to take on Skrull Annihilators, which is a team we're going to be talking about, or if they're going with the 3 new Night Stalkers who are really bad on defense, but if you put them together, they can take out giant Orcus teams very efficiently, right? So we're facing new teams against other new teams, but we need that power combos, those plug-and-play characters that we were discussing a little bit earlier. So this is something you should keep in mind. Does this mean you should run off and level your 2099? Probably not. Like, you probably have other priorities. Something else is probably coming down the line that you'll benefit more from. Like, everyone's going to be unlocking Captain Britain soon. So unless you have a surplus of resources, then you should probably just hold on to those resources to get Captain Britain and invest in him instead of 2099 until that opportunity just opens up to you. I had an opportunity to bring up 2099 on my baby account. I did it. But now I have Nimrod unlocked but not leveled. The Undying characters who I want to level for War, they're at level 75. Not much I can do about that because I just don't have the resources. I'm going to unlock Blade soon. And then whatever new characters come out, I just won't have the resources for, right? So you got to really pick your characters you're going to invest in very carefully. Number 3, Undying is an extreme luxury this season. I do not mean that Undying is an insanely good team this season. I mean they are an extreme luxury. If you have the extra resources, or if you just really like War, they come in at like a good B, maybe B plus team overall. Like, they would probably fall in to your top 8, 9, 10, 11 teams, but they're so susceptible on the defensive side to a team like Hive Mind that you can't use them there. So end up using them for offense. I did do something really incredible with them against Superior 6, which I'll play right now. But is that super repeatable? I don't know. That Juggernaut was insanely big. It was like Crimson Gear, 2 Diamond Juggernaut, right? If you're in the mid game, that's not something you're really going to have. And that sort of power loss on that character is just like, it's a huge thing in Crucible. So unless they make him super farmable and are very generous, like very generous with his shards, I think Undying, if you're like a Crucible fan, not a War fan, probably not going to be the move. And that's going to be like 4 characters if you're in the mid game you probably haven't touched. Right, like, why would you have touched Undying up to this point? Scarlet Witch coming out, they makes you want to bring her up, but is it the best idea? Probably not, right? All right, guys, so here we are in game, and I just want to quickly go over what my setup is. So those are the general rules you should go by. I'll quickly break down what my rooms are, why they are they are, but we're not going to go too much in depth because I do think that this is going to be a very flowing defensive season. These are going to be changing a lot because, as one of the rules stated, like, newest is always best. So let's start with stage 1. So I have my unlimited team here with Dormammu. I initially had this team in stage 5. I don't have any Masters of Evil to lean into it though, right? Stage 5 in the mid game is probably just a dead room for you. If you have any Masters of Evil built up, it's probably just Kang really high, and then you should probably just use them with Cabal. Putting Kang with your unlimited doesn't change like a Superior 6 coming in and just waxing it. So I moved it over to stage 1. The whole thing about Extreme is that they have a lot of health triggers. You know, somebody goes 50%, Rogue gets Taunt, Forge gets 15% speed bar, Nightcrawler can give speed bar, Gambit gives speed, so there's lots of health triggers where they can take a beating, bounce back, and they make use out of these vulnerables, dishing out extra damage. Here you see stage 2, I just have soup, pretty much. I have new characters. I don't have these teams, like I told you, I just unlocked Nimrod, right? I don't have Blade, Oath, or Man-Thing even remotely close to unlocking. I just slapped those guys together, threw a Black Knight in, and hey, I'll show you how they performed because it was kind of surprising, in my opinion. And this is going to be one of the 2 mega rooms I was talking about. Spider Society in the mid-game. Spider Society is by far not just the best defensive team, but it's also this offensive team. Beating this team without something crazy like Odin, Mephisto, Super Skrull, like, it's still not set in stone. I'll show you what happened in my most recent matchup to me and my opponent. So you see I won using this exact setup. I won by a little bit there. So first of all, let's check out stage 2. I just want to show you this. So my opponent tried to hit with Apocalypse, Old Man Logan. I'm not sure what happened here. I assume just my big Black Knight went and smashed it. So once again, new characters, they outclass the old characters, throw in a nice big plug-and-play powerful monster with them. In this case, it was Black Knight. And look at all the benefits that I had from that, right? He ended up having to use Cabal and Kang on it to get it done. But now let's go over to the Spider Society room. I was testing. I actually thought I was going to lose this Crucible because I was just doing full testing. This is a team that we've used on Spider Society Mephisto after 2 burn attacks. Worked great. The punching difference between a mid-game player's hive mind and literally anybody's Spider Society is too much. Because everyone bought Spider Society to Dark Dimension 7. Everyone brought them to Dark Dimension 8. So, like, the difference in just the health there made it so that my hive mind team couldn't really hang. I then tried a similar matchup as to this in my big boy account. And yeah, my goblin, my giant goblin just absolutely walked over these guys. It was just insane damage compared to what we had in this example. So the answer to mid-game Spider Society on defense, still a working problem, and we're going to try and figure it out together. You see, I struggle with it, but then my opponent also struggled with it. He tried to use Alpha Flight, Mephisto, Alpha Flight Mephisto with Kang, then he threw Apocalypse in there, and even he couldn't clear it because everybody, even myself included, we got our Spider Societies jacked up to the nines, right? And so that's why I do have Spider Society here. There is a working idea that Alpha Flight with Pav could be the solution here. I'm probably going to lose my next Crucible by attempting this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to test Alpha Flight Pav here. And this is where I want to have the conversation about Mephisto. So I don't really want to talk about Mephisto in the context of this mid-game, although I do think mid-game players should be close to getting Mephisto at this point. If I didn't have Mephisto, who would I throw in here? I wouldn't throw Apocalypse. I wouldn't throw Skrull. I probably wouldn't throw much in here. I would take Pav out, and I would maybe just put in, I don't know, some sort of pre-taunt, maybe a different raid character. Maybe I'd throw like Nightcrawler in here and nerf the other extreme team. This is where the haves and the have-nots definitely show themselves, right? But for you guys in the mid-game, I wouldn't suggest taking Pav out just yet. Let me test it. Let me make sure that it actually works. And then if it works, we can revisit who the best 5th to put with Spider Society is if we're taking Pav out. Okay, stage 4, you see here, I just have random nonsense, right? I just built up Zuggernaut for the current event, and because I just wanted to build them for the war. No reason. I don't know why I'm doing it. It just seems fun to me. Out-of-time characters, I have them built from the Old Man Logan event, and Moon Knight, I have him built for the Night Stalkers. This is just a top 8, 9, 10, 11 team that I have laying around that's going to be useless on offense. So, boop, get on there into the defense, and let's see how you do, right? Same with Secret Defenders. I'm not leaning into anything in this room, obviously, because it's the extreme room, and there's nothing really, it's the unlimited room, technically. There's not much going on there, but once again, Secret Defenders kind of fit the same bill as my out-of-time 3-piece I have there. They're a top 8, 9, 10, 11 team. I can get better use out of something else on offense. Like, I'm not going to put Superior 6 here and then have Secret Defenders. What's the point in that? Especially because, like, Secret Defenders counter, what we wanted to use them on was against Spider Society. Not really a thing this season, right? So they end up on defense. And that's kind of, those are the nothing teams. There's not a lot of substance there, but we try and make it a little bit interesting, right? So the Extreme team, it's a top 8 to 11 team. I would actually consider Nightcrawler to be a plug-and-play powerhouse. He just happens to plug and play with his own team that much better. So we leave him there, right? A bunch of new characters in 2. I got Black Knight, plug-and-play powerhouse. Number 4, I have just a bunch of garbage, but hey, Moon Knight, he gets deflex from Captain America, a little bit of a powered combo going on there. Powerhouse. Powerhouse plug-in is that Moon Knight. If he gets his turn, it could be devastating, right? Surfer, I have him in here as a plug-and-play character. I wouldn't suggest building Surfer. Very random thing to do. But if somebody dies and he ults with his new stats, boom, that could sap a lot of efficiency. And that's what we're trying to do with 4 out of the 6 rooms. We want to throw something at them that's going to sap a little bit of efficiency, not get completely walked over. It's not going to get one shot by like an Eternal combo or something silly like that. And that's all we want to do. And then 2 rooms, whether that be full Spider Society in Stage 3 or Skrull Annihilators in Stage 6. Now, both of these teams are clearly Cabal proof, like we talked about, right? The Annihilators with Skrull, this is somewhat countered by like Mercs for Money. Mercs for Money actually does revive in this room. Like, they're not supposed to get healing, but they do revive with a certain amount of life. But this individual I'm facing against, he actually tried Mercs for Money, and it did not work out for him, is my understanding. Well, I know it didn't work out for him because I ended up getting the win. Let's just go over there. Oh, sorry, this individual used Mephisto. I guess it was the individual from the last fight. Ended up using Old Man Logan on there, and it did not work out for him. And he even had the Ares to stop me from getting Safeguard, right? So this, I think, is a very powerful team that's going to sap your opponent's efficiency or make them overcommit to it, like you saw the other guy did, hitting me with Mephisto, right? And I just don't want to keep this video too long because, again, it's going to be a flowing thing. I'm going to try and include more regular updates to the mid-game approach we're having, especially when, you know, I didn't include Nimrod now, but Nimrod did have an event. So maybe 2 weeks from now, once people have Nimrod built up, we can discuss what we can do with Orcus 4-piece, pull Agatha, put her elsewhere, do something else, right? And we can discuss how we're kind of growing as the season grows into the mid-game. But guys, I hope this helped you. I'm sorry if you guys felt left out because we were talking a lot about Mephistos and Odins and Captain Britons and all that last season. But this is the defense that I'm currently set up with. If you want to know what that leads me on offense, I got a whole bunch on offense. I guess the easiest way probably going to be to go, probably the first one, because this one we had extra characters. This leaves me with Superior 6. It leaves me with, so I used Odin here, but I didn't have to. I could have used Apocalypse, Red Hulk, Emma, Captain Britain. I would have went first here. Apocalypse still would have punched somebody out. I could have dropped different characters in here, whether like Weaver, Kestrel, to take advantage of the extra damage that's happening. That would have been fine too. Stage 3, I had Spider Society, but that's because I had Hive Mind on defense in the first match, but I'm moving Hive Mind to offense. I think that's probably the right call. For stage number 4, free-to-play Illuminati. Free-to-play Illuminati is kind of my like take this junk out team. Great on offense. They can work. You definitely want to be careful about certain matchups though. Captain Britain, nope. Black Knight is an absolute powerhouse against the team. You think Black Panther would strip his charges, put that ability block on him. It never seems to work out that great when you try and do it. Even my Crimson Geared 6 Red Star struggles because everyone and their mom brought Black Knight up to diamonds because he's that good a character, right? Other characters this team would struggle against. Obviously, Superior 6 would not be good here because we don't have Captain Britain. Obviously, actually, no, this does counter Superior 6. This wouldn't be good against Superior 6 with Vulture, is what I meant to say. Skrull would be a bad matchup to walk into here. Any kind of character that benefits from speed bar that could nullify the speed up that these teams get would be bad. Here's a great example of something I was talking about. The old power combos are still a thing. So here you see I have the Tangled Web 2-piece. I have 2099 and I have Weaver. And I paired them with my Old Man Logan Kang, some very powerful characters in their own right. And it's just kind of soup. I just throw this soup, add it together, and we take out another old team. So this, I think, is a good showcase of what the old school characters can get done. And then I used Cabal here because unlike our Stage 6, there's nothing to stop Iron Patriot's vulnerable from hitting Skrull right away. So this is not a Cabal proof for him, and that's why we get the win. Anyway, I don't want to drag on too much, guys. I hope this video helps you. If you want to copy the defense, feel free to copy it. Obviously, we wanted to make this video exclusively to exclude characters on Mephisto, so let's just put Pav back in there. If you wanted to copy this defense for your use, please go right ahead. I just know there's already going to be people being like, well, I don't have Skrull either. Well, I don't have Old Man Logan. I get it. I have to draw the line somewhere, because if it's just, then I have to assume nobody has anything, right? I have to draw the line somewhere. Those characters, if you are actually mid-game, you should have easily gotten by now. If you are early game, you should also take this advice. You should probably have 2 teams on defense, and then the other 4 teams, like, I wouldn't even worry about them at all. Keep everything else for offense, basically, and just make sure that you're clearing your opponents. The initial climb to gold is going to take you a while, and by then, like, you should be able to unlock a Skrull. Old Man Logan should come back again by then, so hopefully that'll help you out. But yeah, guys, I'm sorry if you guys felt left out of that last video. I hope this helps you. I hope you guys do amazing in Crucible, but as always, I hope you stay healthy, stay happy, and have fun. If you like this video, please do all the YouTube stuff. I appreciate it. It helps the algorithm, helps me out greatly. But I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.